Hello, everyone. I'm Bra Mithra. I'm once again joined by Jay Richter. Hello, Jay.
Hello, bro.
So, we have our Easter sale releases, our
Yeah.
April shop update.
Sorry this took so long to get out. The Mallet State Hero took a while to ship, apparently.
Yeah, the Mail State Hero took a while to come for the beta this year, for this month, I mean. So
Yes.
there was all kinds of stuff for sale.
And two pretty solid gameplay releases, if I must
Yes,
say so myself.
and we've talked about most of them before because
Yeah.
they've had. I mean, the Black Knight Showdown board isn't really a lore thing. Pasha
It's
is
just
just a variant, which we've talked about Pasha before, so we've talked about a lot of them before. So we're not going to talk about them now. They were very cool. Probably not up anymore by the time this video comes out.
yeah.
Definitely the Urza and the monster are gone. I
Megamorph.
think there was like three Pashas left, but
Yeah.
most of that stuff's pretty much gone. We have the Male Estate Hero, which was the beta.
Yes. Mallet State Hero. Mercenaries lurk on the approach to the labyrinths, as the relic-bearing survivors are inexorably drawn to enter the impossible passageways. Estate heroes generously join their journey. They fight to clear the monster-infested path, guiding survivors to the labyrinth's maw before extracting their steep payments. Which makes it sound like he's probably definitely in the canon world. Probably.
Yes. Yeah. It's just an echo. So whatever
Yeah.
it is that they find themselves doing. So
Yep.
this is a Easter release
Mm.
because of the little rabbit familiar,
His Lagomorph buddy.
his Lagomorph buddy. Yep. With that said, he's going to use the rush keyword, which we'll talk about quickly here, which has been exclusive to Easter stuff so far. It was
Yeah.
used on
Paleun.
Lolowin and Usagi, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe so.
So Rush continuing its domination of Easter, which is a shame. I love Rush. I wish Rush was in the game. The Verminism stuff could have used Rush. Rush is awesome. But when a survivor hits 3+ times in a single attack, they rush for that attack.
It's just like a state-based thing.
Yep, it's just a state
It
that a
doesn't have any
survivor.
inherent benefits or effects, but you are in the state of rushing, or you rush when you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally the same as Doomed. I'm not saying that you get the effects of Doomed, but it's being in a Doomed. Like Doomed is just a state that has rules. Rush is a state of a survivor that has insulated from the winter.
Yeah.
They're just a state. So
Insulate's a good comparison.
yeah, they're just states. So that's it. It's so straightforward. And then the other thing is it's ethereal again,
Which
which
I. Yeah, I guess that does need a lettering glossary. It's not vanilla, but anyway.
it's been updated. Same thing we talked
Yeah.
about the male hero or the male fighter last time.
You just have to have a savior around for this to exist.
Yep, which is great. That's much better than what ethereal used to be.
Yes. But what is this, brah?
So yes, we'll talk about the hysteria powder. So you make this by spending 2 endeavors, 1 bone, and 1 perfect organ, and then all it requires is a red savior or a savior with the keratosis in the settlement
Yes. Which is the ability.
of a red savior. Correct.
Yeah, so you have that from birth.
Correct.
Which is still a steep trade-off to not have a blue savior.
Yes. This one is okay though. The other one, the
Yeah.
shield is better the faster you got it. I don't think you need to rush Hysteria Powder. I don't think it helps you until you've already got pretty well established grids because well we'll talk about it. But
Ironic, because it has the rush keywords.
yeah, and it's the affinities are not like super easy.
Yeah. But yeah, you have the hysteria powder, which is an item, soluble, and other. Soluble hurts. Don't hunt Sunstalkers with this.
Yeah.
It's ethereal and activation limit 2. It has no affinities and no inherent abilities. Uh, the affinity lock with 2 red and 1 blue affinity. You can spend activation. You or an adjacent survivor suffers the frenzy brain trauma and gains when you rush. The monster suffers a wound until the end of the showdown.
Yep. This is crazy.
That's pretty solid.
Jay and I have different approaches to this one, but ultimately I don't think it matters here. I don't think the person who has this is the one that's using this. I think you're exclusively doing adjacent.
I could think of some builds that you put this into on his own survivor.
Sure, I could as well.
Probably give it to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, you could use this twice on yourself if you wanted to use a slow weapon, because that would give you the +1 speed token twice, because you're frenzying yourself twice. That would let you have a slow weapon that you're now ignoring at least get to 3 speed.
I believe the imitation butcher armor activates that affinity. I believe.
Yes. There's lots of look.
There's lots of ways to do funny things with this.
This is insane. This is an auto wound.
Yes.
That happens.
It's an auto wound that happens every time you attack.
Pretty much every time you attack. Correct. It also happens before you draw hit locations.
So it can kill monsters before you draw the hit location. Even if you have a trap on top of the deck, it kills it before that happens.
Correct. This gets around invincible.
Correct.
Because you're not doing a wound roll with this. Invincible, things like that only trigger on wound rolls. This would get around the gambler stuff, because again, gambler steals your wound rolls. So if
it gets around, what is it? The old blood from God Hand.
Correct. This gets anything where you're not making a wound roll. So this is crazy. It's like counterweighted axe, which you could equip the survivor to be using counterweighted axe with this if you wanted to.
Except it doesn't require perfect hits.
Yeah. So there's nothing that this doesn't work with.
Except for things that are below 3 speed, I guess.
Well, again, you get activation limit twice, so you could frenzy yourself twice to get it to 3 speed. That's what I mean. There's literally nothing that's gated from using this, so I don't even know. I'm sure there's tons and tons of builds that are crazy, like the one you were saying, Hooded Scrap Guitars from Spooter are great with this.
Scrap Guitars are
Acid,
yeah,
Acid Daggers are great with this.
Yep. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Lots of stuff is great with this. You probably want a spear, because it's not even limited to once per act.
Yep.
You could just surge right after this and do another auto wound. This is absolutely insane. The
Imitation Butcher Mask gives you activations, I believe.
Yeah, this is Frenzy on demand. That means if you have someone with Bitter Frenzy, again, you'll want to be using them with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what we meant by you might want to wait until you're a little more established. This is really, really well paired with Bitter Frenzy.
Yes. This is not well paired with Potentia Est.
Yes. Correct.
If you frenzy yourself with the romantic arc knowledge, Potentia Est, you'll lose...
You lose the extra...
Yeah, you'll be deleting your own knowledges. So this is a very rare L for romantic.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I can never use romanticism again. I have to pick barbaric every campaign.
Oh no! My gosh!
No, you give this to just some goon who doesn't care about their knowledges or fighting arts and just go to town.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's why I was saying there's almost nothing. This is crazy. This is so good. This is so good. I highly doubt the white. If this ever comes in a white box with this, it definitely won't be this.
It'll be something. I think it might be just activation limit 1, maybe.
Yeah, maybe activation limit 1 plus once per round. Where you're not just surging. Because, again, you can't surge, but you can. We talked about ways you can still technically get around this. even
Or like
because
once per act.
well, no,
Like I'd be fine with giving extra act things.
well, there's the what I say, Amber Edge, where you're gonna
Yeah.
make multiple attacks, so
It's
you could just keep doing this. That would get around frenzy, right?
correct.
So there are methods to get
Mutation
around this.
Butcher Mask.
Yeah, there are ways to get around this.
The daggers we'll be talking about shortly.
Yeah, there's ways to get around the no surge, right? Surge isn't a super limiter, right? If you're going to take the time to use this, you're going to take the time to make a red savior. You're going to take the time to make this. You're definitely going to find ways around getting to not being able to surge. So
Even just baseline straight up high speed weapon, give this to them, or give the ability to them. Even if you're not like going super hard into finding extra attack methods, it's still a free wound basically every round.
yeah, I agree. It's nuts. And you're probably gonna put this on two people, two different people.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be two free wounds every round. Crazy.
Yeah, more or less.
This is crazy. This is so crazy, so good. Makes having a red savior worth it. Not that red saviors are bad. I think red saviors are better in the late game than like blue saviors. So you usually want blue in the early game and then green. At the end of the game, you want red saviors. Red saviors are better at the end, but yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy good. I doubt this will be like this when it comes out of beta. It will be something similar. I bet it will be a lot more restricted. Probably, like Jay said, activation limit 1. And probably limiting it to once per act. Still great. It's crazy. I like seeing Rush. I hope Rush gets more things. Next, we have the IR.
Yes, Dashing Reaper Paleun. The thunder of hooves was upon her before she could scramble to her feet. Suddenly, she was plucked into the air, her arms snagged between two massive, gnashing teeth. Bouncing over the stone-faced ground, she twisted wildly, searching for a handhold. Grabbing at the froth-soaked fur, she felt the pulsing, bulging edges of her screaming antelope's straining neck. Her grip wouldn't last. She lashed out with her bladed fists. The baying monster ceased. A shower of hot ichor spilled from its wounded throat. Something hard sailed into the wound, striking her head. Her grip failed, and she tumbled to the ground, landing alongside the strange stone. The monster slid past her, gouging the ground with silent undermaw.
She's IR, so she comes with a Screaming Antelope IR. This is the second Screaming Antelope IR. Before we get started evaluating this, this is the first time I feel like it's necessary to like add the context that you're going to be using Lope. If you're using this, that means your node 2 is Lope.
Yep.
Because when you look at this at first glance, and because this involves using fresh acanthus and stuff, right? It's gonna be like, well, fresh acanthus? What do I need? Phacism to draw fresh acanthus? No, you're gonna get the astute thing from killing the Lope, which will allow someone to put fresh acanthus on the board. So
also, you hunt a Lope, and there's 8 fresh acanthus sitting there.
Yeah. So just remember when we talk about this, getting fresh acanthus and having fresh acanthus on you is not really going to be a problem. You're probably going to have multiple survivors with astute, so even if you go non-hunting a Lope, you're going to have ways of getting it on the board guaranteed, tutoring that card.
This is our first Indomitable Perfect Stone.
Yes.
That's it. It cannot be used for anything. Similar to the denticulated, whatever it was, the bone.
Correct. It is a stone resource, so
it's currently unused for anything.
Currently not used for anything. It is a perfect stone, though. So
yes.
Other than that, you are correct. You're not really going to use this. But again, this is a monster resource, so it's an IR resource. and you are using Lope, so you can throw away monster resources to get basic.
Do inevitable resources count for
Uh,
harvester's rule?
I don't see why they wouldn't be a monster resource, but I guess they wouldn't. Maybe. I guess I need to get clarification on if abdominal resources count as monster resources. The Dashing Reaper, which has 2 build limit. It is 1 gnawed stone, or gnawed gastrolith, 2 leather, 3 bone, and 1 scrap. So,
Not the most expensive weapon in the game, but not cheap.
yeah, you don't even need Lope resources to make it,
Correct.
which is interesting.
Yeah, I would have thought it might need the flat tooth or something.
Yeah, it just needs the 1 IR, and that's it. So that's interesting. Not that not that Lope's known for not giving you a bunch of resources. Not like you'd struggle to make this if it did require them.
Yeah,
But-
for one single screaming antelope.
Yeah, but still interesting that it doesn't. So the build limit 2, meaning you're obviously what we're coming up to here is they're probably going to be paired.
Maybe. It also, is 2 daggers in the art.
Yes. So, what is Dashing Reapers, Jay?
The Dashing Reaper is a weapon, melee, dagger, sickle, stone, lantern. It is 2 speed, 8 plus accuracy, and 7 strength. Red left and green right. They are paired and savage. If you're not already tingling, bear with me. For a red puzzle and a green puzzle, so kind of difficult to activate. During your act, archive any fresh acanthus resource to gain movement. If this weapon is being paired, gain movement and activation instead. Limit once per round. Let's unpack some shit.
Yeah, this is really good.
There's layers to this.
There's lots of stuff to talk about with this one. Stuff that let's talk about the thing I mentioned earlier that I don't think we've ever talked about whenever we were talking about gear, right?
Yeah,
So-
this actually plays off of the quarry that it's made of.
Yes. But first thing I want to talk about is the puzzle affinities here.
Yes.
They're paired puzzle affinities that don't help each other. That's one thing. That kind of sucks. Would have been nice maybe if it would have been like 2 like left reds or left and right red and not being green, but it is what it is. It sucks when the pairs can't help each other. But remember, you only need to have the activated ability on one of these, even though they're
The one that
paired.
you're attacking with, yeah.
Yeah, and then you activate that one. But it still sucks that they don't help each other. Again, not a big deal, but here's the other
Probably
thing.
this one's screaming Oni or something.
Yeah, this is not hard to activate. It just would have been nice if they would have helped each other when they're paired. But
Yeah.
here's the thing about these. This requires a puzzle on the left with the red and the right with the green, and it requires both of them to be puzzles. Or both of them,
Yeah.
because they're double puzzle, right? It's not just 2 affinity locks. And we've never-
Ergo, you can never activate this in a scout grid.
Yeah, you can never activate this in a scout grid. This is the first time I think we've ever brought this up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing with other weapons, of course, like the Lion Knight Claws. But yeah, that's kind of interesting, especially considering these are really good for the hunt.
Yeah, these would have been good for a scout too, because you get activate whenever you archive fresh cantus, you can get movement. So if you weren't hiding off the board with your scout, this would be a good one.
Yeah. Similarly, they're a lantern for people of the lantern post Watcher.
Yes, let's talk about that. The keywords on this alone before we get to the abilities.
Yes. It's a dagger, which are super, super well supported by tons of fighting arts and shit. It's a sickle, which means you get the bonus for like worm tunnels, gathering acanthus, of course. I'm going to assume that these are going to go really well with gatherism.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a blind guess, but come on.
Yep, I agree.
And they're a lantern for your people lantern shenanigans to boot. So you can pair these and you won't have to worry about having a lantern in another slot.
Correct. These are your lantern. For people with lantern. These yeah, you don't need a lantern. These are so good that you might just use these as your lantern. Even
Maybe.
like if you're playing people with lantern, these are better than a survival lantern for sure.
Yeah.
Depends
because
on
they
if you
have
need the
sickle.
affinities, right? It qualifies as a lantern and it's a sickle, which just is very helpful. And if you, even if you're not pairing these, gaining movement is still just great, right?
Yeah.
So these are a great thing not paired if you were to put this in your grid just as your lantern and then just,
You give one to one guy and a second to a different guy.
yeah, and then
Or
just
just
put
make one of them.
grease and a monster tooth necklace if you're playing core only.
Yeah.
And then you've got it activated and you can assumedly have astute because you're going to be hunting lopes forever in core.
Yep.
You'll assumedly have astute on somebody so they can get some fresh acanthus and then you're just getting like free dash. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good lantern.
Yeah, look. Free dash. It's another activation for the hysteria powder.
That's, yeah. Okay.
Well, it is.
It's true, yes. Yeah, that's true. These are good. These are really good. I think in core only, this like if you have core only, this is like
Oh, these are godlike in core.
these are amazing in core only.
Like straight up people of the lantern, like lion, lope, phoenix. That's it. Yeah, all day, all day.
Yeah, these are great. Now let's talk about them as actually being daggers. These are some high strength daggers.
Yes.
Very
Low
high strength
accuracy,
daggers.
But if you're pairing these, that's less of an issue.
Yes, it's actually good that they have low accuracy if when you're tempted to pair these, right? Because you don't want to get all those hits all the time. So you'll probably get one or two hits, and then you're gonna reliably wound because these are 7 strength. Not always reliably wound, but it's a pretty good chance you're gonna be wounding a lope or something in core hunting.
Yeah,
these.
7's pretty solid.
Pretty solid, I'd say.
I'm a sucker for the savage gear rule.
Yeah, savage
Not that
is
these
also good.
They don't particularly play into savage, like they're not deadly or anything. But
No.
like savage.
Yeah, these are good. These are like unbelievably flexible. They do all kinds of things just because of the fact that they're a sickle and a lantern. Again, like you said, you're going to be using them for Worm Tunnel. You're going to be using them for herb gathering.
Acanthus.
Yeah, these are really good. The fact that they're a lantern sickle is really good. It's so interesting that some of these IRs are IR weapons, but they're they're not like super encouraging you to even attack with them because nothing with this. Even if you do have these paired and the affinities, you still don't need to attack with them to get the bonus.
No, but that's like a lot of gear space investment. If you're pairing, activating,
Depends.
you're pairing and activating these.
Depends on what you're doing with that activation, right?
Like, sure.
I mean, what if you got King Gear, man? An extra activation on your turn is just one less turn for the monster. In some situations, you can do so much damage.
Well, I don't know. How are you activating these with King Gear?
No, I'm saying well, that's true. You're not activating these with King Gear. That is correct.
Like activating the affinities, I mean.
But I didn't mean necessarily with King Gear. I meant with if you're using like Assassinator.
Sure. If
I meant
you
if
have
you-
a Grand
King
King
weapon.
Slayer
Yeah.
and the King gloves with these,
Yeah.
sure.
If you have a King weapon. Oh yeah. If you really want to be
turn one
silly,
of these on with a Monster Tooth necklace and
grease.
grease, and then you grab a Grand King Slayer and go.
Yeah, with the Tachyon no Dachi.
Yeah. Tachyon no Dachi, Grand King Slayer, and King Arms. Just
Yeah,
get
yeah.
really silly with it.
You discard a fresh acanthus to get yourself a whole extra activation. Then you surge. Then you activate your Tachyon no Dachi, and you've got 3
Get
acts.
extra attack rolls from the King gloves.
Yeah, 3 or 4 attacks.
I think you can also fit the King shield in there somewhere, probably, to deflect a whole bunch.
But yeah, there's a lot of foolish things you can do. I really like these just because of the fact that these are so flexible. All right, Jay. So now we've covered both of these.
Yeah.
What are you doing? When are you buying these instantly? Buying on Black Friday? Passing?
I'm probably I'm probably waiting for Indomitable Survivors Pack 2, and I'm probably waiting for these.
Waiting
Because
on
it
both?
just, yeah, because I'm waiting for a hard plastic release for a State Hero, which is probably going to be Survivors of Death 2. And the fact that the Indomitable Survivor packs exist make me hesitant to pay $32 for Paleun. Sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep. I agree with you. I am
I'm buying
waiting.
it on the sim as soon as Paleun comes out.
I am waiting on both of these. In fact, I don't even, I think I'm passing because of the on the thing on the beta just because
Yeah.
I don't think the version will be anywhere near close to this hysteria powder.
Yeah.
But if you got this hysteria powder, you've got yourself one of the best gears probably in the game, in my opinion. This thing or best items
Yeah,
in the
like,
game. This is such a
all right.
crazy item.
Is it King Waste? No.
No,
However,
it's an yeah. This is a crazy item that lets you do some really fun stuff. Any kind of frenzy builds, like they're so rare.
but you can do some goofy shit with them.
Yeah, and the fact that this is a frenzy build enabler is just cool. I just think the
Yeah.
power is off the charts, and I don't think the white box will look anything like this. So I'm passing completely on the beta. In my opinion,
Yeah.
Indomitable Survivor, I agree with you. Depends on what the state of the LOP IRs are going to be and how many IRs you already own. I think if this
Given,
is
yeah,
like
if we're not talking about an Indomitable Survivor pack existing, I say
correct,
buy. If you're expecting her to be available in a discounted pack this Black Friday,
correct.
wait for that.
Yeah, if you're looking, if you just get into Kingdom Death, I don't know how you would do that because the core games are sold out. But
The simulator, bruh.
if you haven't, yeah, when she comes out in the sim, this is instant buy in the sim
Yeah,
because of the
but yeah, $5 easy.
yeah. This is what I was about to say. This is a great thing for core.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
This is great for core. So if you only have core and you just and she's a cool model too.
Oh yeah.
This is great for core. But if you
Exactly. Sim.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're not if you're not have core only. I would wait on this till Black Friday probably. I think I might pick this up when I go to Gen Con just to avoid shipping fees
Yeah,
and
that's a
stuff.
good call.
But I'm definitely also waiting on this. But I do think this is great. So if you're buying this because you really like the model, the mini is really
Not a bad
cool.
get. It's not a bad get.
I don't think this will ever be one of the ones where you wouldn't include it, right? I think they'll eventually. We've talked about this. I think eventually IRs you're going to reach a point where you might start tutoring your deck. Like I'm talking like
Yeah.
after COD, years down the line. Not anytime soon, but after COD. Say COD gives low
If every monster gets the point of Crimson Croc and having like 85 IRs,
Smog has 7 right now.
Smog has like 7.
Yeah.
It's like, eh.
I don't think this will ever be one you tutor though. That's my point. I don't think I would ever tutor this if I owned it. So that's good.
Yeah.
I would probably do what you said. I might tutor Zell out before I tutored this for sure. So, but yeah, I think this is not an immediate buy. This is an IR. The IRs they have lots. They're always usually in stock. So, good stuff. So Jay, what do you think? What do you think next month we get? We get the Green Savior
Oh, absolutely. No, you mean blue? You probably
or
get
Blue? Yes, Blue Savior. My bad.
blue. I'm gonna say male. I don't know. What's
Could be it.
what's a
Could be anything.
like? It could be anything, but like, I can't even think of any generics we haven't gotten.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of generics we haven't gotten, but this breaks the mold of generics we haven't gotten because it's changing them to male, so it doesn't even follow that.
That's true. And Fighter was in Survivors, so like male, maybe male Azure Knight.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Wait, no, male as
That Azure Knight, or whatever her name was, because she was in Survivors of Death.
Yeah.
And Azure Blue.
yeah, that'd be cool. Something. I agree. I think we're getting the blue one next month. Very cool. I'm excited to see what the blue one is. The blue one could be really wonky. See how much it delves deep into luck, but these other ones didn't. Green didn't go into armor, and this one didn't go into auto hits. Went into auto wounds, but I guess the other one went into armor kind of because you gained it when you got attacked. So I guess the blue one's probably going to give you luck somehow.
Yeah, or like precision or something.
Yep. I'm fully expecting that as well. Should be pretty good. Hopefully, my boy Badar.
Fingers crossed for Badar. We saw him.
hoping-
He's coming.
He's coming. I'm
He's
hoping
in the
for him.
pipeline.
Spooter would be great. So,
Booter IR would be fun.
thank you so much for joining me, Jay.
Thanks for having me.
See you next month's sale. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.